And we're back. Okay, now we're going to talk about how you write the code to use the mouse as an input source. So we're going to select our capsule here, and we're going to come down to our script, to our capsule rotate, and remove component. So now the script is gone from the capsule. We're going to create another script here, and we're going to call this one capsule mouse rotate. And then we can double click on it to get it to open in the editor. And, of course, we got to make sure we get the right script here. So capsule mouse rotate, there it is, with just an empty update function. And we'll come up above the script, so this will be visible outside the script, and create a variable. And we're going to call this one rotex and colon, and we're going to make this a float, give it an initial value of 0, and then you probably know what's coming next. Not Roy, weren't expecting that, but roty, and that's a float also, and we'll give that an initial value of 0. And then wrote Z, and that's a float with an initial value of -45. Okay, so that's in degrees. Now instead of update, we're going to finally use a different function here, and this is going to be called OnMouseDown. So this is when the mouse is clicked. And this is actually the left button. That it doesn't say that, but it's sort of just assumed. So transform dot rotate, and then open parentheses, and our parameters are rotex and comma and roty. There they are down there. If you want to arrow down and hit enter to use the shortcut. May not really save any time, and wrote Z. Sometimes you're done writing before you notice those. And semicolon, and there it is. So on mouse down, we're going to rotate in Z. And that is the capsule rotate script. We can close this. There it is, but it's still not attached, so we're going to come up here and attach it to the capsule. It doesn't look like anything happened, but if we click on it, there it is. It's got the variables shown, so we can run. And notice it's not rotating, and just click, 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 and there we go. So there's mouse input, left button. Works fine. Come back into our script here. And I'm going to create some more variables, and you know the key hits and that mouse down happened only when you initially clicked it. But now we're going to talk about mouse drag. That's while the mouse is down. So we're going to create these variables: rotex_drag, roty_drag, floats of 0, and roteZ_drag. These will happen continuously while the mouse button is depressed. So we'll make this a different value here for the Z, and just a small value, 3 in positive. And then we're going to create another set of variables here for X, Y, and Z. And these are up. This is when the mouse button would be released. So we've got the first ones, which we probably should have called down if we were doing this all together, but they're when the mouse gets pushed down. Then we've got while the mouse is being held down. And now we've got this last set that we're creating, which is when the mouse button is released. And again, nothing in X or Y, but in Z, So rot z underscore up. And of course these are all floats. And then we'll make this value minus 15. So again, in the opposite direction as the one for the drag while the mouse is down. So there it is. So we've got 3 sets of variables. We've only got one function so far, so we've got to change that. So we'll come in here and we'll create another function. And obviously this shows you that you can have more than one function in a script. You can have lots of functions. So OnMouseDrag, which is a defined function which says, what do we do when the left mouse button is pushed down for the entire length it is? Remember, the game cycle happens 30 times a second if it can keep up with the hardware. So transform rotate, open parend, and now we're going to use those drag versions of the variable. So rot x underscore drag, rot y underscore drag, and rot z, and you can just type it in or go down and select it and hit enter. And don't forget our semicolon and our closing curly brace. And there's our second function. We can move that back out so they're lined up. Again, this indenting and not indenting is just for readability for the user. System doesn't particularly care. So the last one here we've got is on mouse up. Probably could have guessed that. Open close parend. You use that. That's just sort of a standard function design to have those open close parend. And then the open curly brace. And then transform.rotate again. All this is just so that you can see something happen. So rotate works fine. The capsule or whatever we apply this to will sort of stay in the neighborhood so it doesn't run off somewhere that we can't see it using rotation. So rot x underscore up, rot y underscore up, and rot z underscore up. And I went down a little off the screen, but you get the idea. Closing curly shows the matching the opening one. Outdent it. There's our 3 functions. They look okay. All the variables. We'll save it, and we can close the script window. And now we've got all our variables here. We already attached the script last time. Let's run it and come down here. And now you see we're clicking it, and now we're holding it down. And you see that little bit of pop back in the other direction. Kind of hard to see, but it's there. Maybe putting a bigger number in would make that a little more visible. But we've got now functions that work when it's pushed down, when it's held down, and when it's released. So there they are, and it all works. Now, that's fine, and that works as long as you're clicking the mouse button, but we know that you can actually get mouse actions when you don't click a button at all, when you just hover the mouse over an object. And so let's just make a slight change to the code here so that it works like that. So we'll open it up and do that. So we'll come down and we will select our capsule mouse rotate and open it. And all we have to do is change these function names slightly from OnMouseDown to OnMouseEnter. And that means you're over the mouse. And from OnMouseDrag to OnMouseOver. And OnMouseUp gets changed to OnMouseExit. So enter, over, and exit. So we'll save and close. And now we don't have to click the button. We just hold the mouse over, and you saw it just goes up. Hard to see the last one, but there it is. It's going one direction, then the other, then back. So there it is. There's that functionality. And we're about done for this video, so we'll end it there, and we'll see you in the next one.